Tonight, we uncover a global conflict that's quietly reshaping the future. One that's unfolding not on battlefields, but in boardrooms, factories, and shipping ports around the world. This is a war fought not with weapons, but with tiny, powerful magnets. Rare earth magnets that are at the heart of our modern lives, yet rarely noticed by most of us. These rare earth magnets are the hidden force behind the technology we rely on every day. Smartphones, electric cars, wind turbines, and even advanced military equipment. Without them, much of our digital and green future would grind to a halt. Right now, China produces nearly all of the world's most powerful rare earth magnets. In a dramatic move, it has halted shipments to India, demanding guarantees that these vital components won't end up in American hands. This is more than a trade spat. It's a high-stakes standoff that exposes just how fragile and interconnected our global supply chains truly are. Factories are slowing, and the ripple effects are being felt worldwide. India, with its ambitions to become a global leader in high-tech manufacturing and green energy, now finds itself caught in the crossfire. Its dreams of innovation and economic growth are suddenly at risk, as critical supplies dry up. The world is watching closely, because what's happening to India could happen to any nation that depends on a single supplier for essential technology. The stakes are global, and the outcome could reshape industries everywhere. As of October 10, 2025, the standoff continues, critical supplies remain blocked, Indian factories are stalling, and uncertainty hangs over the future of countless projects. Major construction and technology projects are on hold, with engineers and business leaders scrambling for solutions as the crisis deepens. In this story, we'll trace how we arrived at this critical moment, what's truly at stake for the world economy, and how the rare earth trade became a new front in global power struggles. We'll reveal why these tiny magnets, often hidden inside our devices, matter to us all, shaping everything from the gadgets in our pockets to the cars we drive and the energy we use. We'll hear from experts, government officials, and industry insiders who are on the front lines of this economic battle, offering insight into the challenges and possible solutions. This is about more than minerals. It's about power, control, and the future of global innovation. The outcome of this silent war will shape the world for years to come. To understand today's crisis, we need to know what rare earths are and why they matter. These elements, often overlooked, are the unsung heroes behind much of the technology we rely on every day. Their story stretches back centuries, but their importance has only grown in our modern, interconnected world. Rare earth elements, like neodymium, dysprosium, and terbium, aren't actually rare, but are hard to mine and process. Extracting them requires complex techniques and often comes with significant environmental challenges, making their supply chain fragile and expensive to maintain. Their unique properties revolutionize technology, enabling smaller, more efficient motors and the miniaturization of electronics. From smartphones to headphones, and even the screens we use daily, rare earths are at the heart of innovation. These elements power everything from wind turbines and electric vehicles to MRI machines and missile guidance systems. Their magnetic and conductive qualities make them irreplaceable in both civilian and military applications, shaping industries and national security alike. Without them, much of our modern world would grind to a halt. Imagine cities going dark, factories standing idle, and critical infrastructure failing, all because of a shortage of these tiny but vital elements. Their strategic value is immense. Control over rare earths means economic and geopolitical leverage. Nations that dominate rare earth production can influence global markets and even the balance of power. That's why they're called the vitamins of modern industry. A little goes a long way, but without them, the system fails. Even the smallest shortage can ripple through supply chains, affecting countless products. The global race for rare earths is about more than resources. It's about who controls the future. As countries compete for access, alliances shift, and new rivalries emerge, all centered around these critical materials. Any disruption in their supply can trigger global consequences. Shortages can halt production lines, spike prices, and even threaten national security. This is the foundation of the current standoff. The world is watching as nations maneuver for control, knowing that whoever leads in rare earths will shape the next era of technology. The battle for rare earths is a battle for technological supremacy, a contest that will define the future of innovation, security, and global power. The US once led rare earth production, but China changed the game in the 1980s and 90s. Guided by Deng Xiaoping's vision, the Middle East has oil, China has rare earths. China invested heavily, undercutting global competitors. By mastering the entire supply chain, from mining to finished magnets, China gained near-total dominance. Today, China mines 60% of rare earths, but controls 90% of processing and refining. Even if other countries mine rare earths, they often rely on China to turn them into usable products. Beijing has used this leverage before, cutting off exports to Japan in 2010 and sending shockwaves through global markets. Efforts to diversify supply chains are slow and costly. China's grip remains firm. The current India standoff is another example of China wielding its mineral monopoly as a tool of statecraft. Rare earths are now a weapon in China's broader economic competition with the West. The crisis escalated in April 2025, when China imposed stricter export controls on rare earths. Exporters now need licenses, and Indian buyers must provide end-user certificates. But China added a new twist. India must guarantee these magnets won't be re-exported to the US. This puts India in a bind. Agreeing could damage its US ties. Refusing means its tech industries stall. The standoff has halted supplies of heavy rare earth magnets to India for months. After high-level talks, China resumed some shipments to Europe and Southeast Asia, but not to India. The message is clear. This is targeted political pressure, not a logistics issue. India faces a tough choice between economic growth and strategic alliances. The world is watching how New Delhi responds. Export controls are government rules that restrict the movement of sensitive goods and technologies across international borders. These regulations are designed to prevent the misuse of critical materials, especially those that could have military or strategic applications. One prominent example is rare earth magnets, small but powerful components that are essential for everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced missile systems and radar. These magnets are considered dual-use items, meaning they are vital for both civilian technologies and military hardware. Their unique properties make them indispensable in modern electronics and defense industries alike. At the heart of the current standoff is the end-user certificate, a crucial document that specifies exactly who will use the exported product and for what purpose. This certificate is meant to ensure that sensitive goods do not end up in the wrong hands or get diverted to unintended destinations. What makes this situation unique is China's demand that India guarantee these magnets will not be re-exported or transferred to the United States, a third country not directly involved in the transaction. By making this demand, China is politicizing what is usually a standard trade tool, transforming the end-user certificate into a powerful instrument of economic competition and diplomatic leverage. Ironically, China is now asking India to enforce rules similar to those found in the Wassenaar Arrangement, an international export control regime that China has often criticized for being restrictive and unfair. By leveraging these requirements, China is not only protecting its own interests, but also tightening its grip on the global rare earth market, making it harder for competitors to access these critical materials. India now finds itself under significant pressure to comply with China's terms, all while trying to avoid undermining its own foreign policy objectives and strategic autonomy. This standoff is about much more than just raw materials. It's a contest over who sets the rules for global trade, and who gets to control the flow of resources that power the modern world. In the end, it's a sophisticated move in the high-stakes chess game of international trade, where every decision can shift the balance of power. The supply halt is freezing India's high-tech ambitions. Heavy rare earth magnets are essential for wind turbines, electronics, and defense systems. The shortage is making global manufacturers wary of investing in India, undermining its Make in India push. Defense and aerospace sectors face delays, exposing a strategic vulnerability. India's economic growth is bottlenecked by dependence on a single supplier. Last year, India imported 870 tons of rare earth magnets, small in value, but critical in impact. The industries relying on these magnets are worth billions. The crisis is a wake-up call. Industrial strength depends on secure access to key materials. Nowhere is the impact sharper than in India's electric vehicle revolution. Heavy rare earth magnets are the gold standard for EV motors. Efficient, powerful, and compact. Smaller EVs can switch to less efficient alternatives, but for cars, buses, and trucks, there's no substitute. Production lines for larger vehicles are stalling, threatening India's ambitious EV targets. Billions in investment and years of progress are at risk. The shortage exposes a deep vulnerability in India's supply chain strategy. Without these magnets, India's dream of leading the EV race could slip away. The road to green mobility is blocked by a tiny, irreplaceable component. The stakes for India's energy future have never been higher. Frustration is mounting among Indian industry leaders and government officials. EV executives say their production plans are in jeopardy, with Chinese suppliers unable to ship without government guarantees. The supply halt is now the biggest constraint on making larger electric vehicles. Indian officials confirm China's demands and are searching for a diplomatic solution that doesn't compromise foreign policy. Experts see China's move as a calculated effort to maintain its technological lead and gather market intelligence. The new export controls also block access to processing know-how, making it harder for others to build rival supply chains. China's message: you can buy the product, but you won't get the recipe. This is about long-term control, not just short-term profit. India is scrambling for a creative workaround, but the pressure is intense. The rare earth standoff is reshaping the rules of global industry. The outcome of this standoff will echo far beyond India. India faces a tough choice: find a diplomatic workaround or endure economic pain and hope China relents. Experts predict a compromise, but India's vulnerability will persist. The crisis is accelerating global efforts to diversify supply chains and invest in new sources of rare earths. Control over critical resources is now as important as military might. The weaponization of supply chains is becoming a new normal in geopolitics. Companies and governments must now balance efficiency with resilience and security. The world's green transition and technological future rest on fragile foundations. The silent war over tiny magnets is a warning. Global power can hinge on the smallest components. Understanding these hidden battles is essential for navigating the world ahead.